Are you a reader looking for a good book? Or are you an author who has written a book? Good Books Online is the show that brings readers and authors together.
Today we have a very special treat because seated beside me is my friend and co-conspirator, Hector the Connector Cisneros, and we've come here to talk to you about the book that we co-wrote called Working the Web to Win.
Yeah.
So, Hector, can you still work the web to win?
It's getting harder.
It is. It is. And it's changed a lot because both Hector and I have been getting paid to help people succeed online since like the early 90s.
Yeah.
But back then, it was an easy gig.
It was easy.
You know, you had a bunch of search engines. You could usually get somebody on page one in 24 hours. Remember those days?
Yeah, and we had it's like 400 search engines.
Yeah.
They were popular.
Right.
They weren't just like, nobody ever heard of them.
Right.
Everybody heard of all of
And
them.
I mean, there were 10 or 12 of them that had enough traffic to really make it worth your while. There wasn't the big monopoly like we have today. But that being said, what we really want to talk about is what has happened in the last few years particularly, and what is going to be happening in the next after that.
Right, and things are changing at a very rapid pace. I had somebody, I actually wrote an article recently that says, the 7 myths of, entrepreneurs. And one of those myths is, I just built my website 3 years ago. It's good enough. The reality is, 3 years in this industry is an eternity.
It's forever, right? It's like dog years, right? It's worth 7 years in real life.
Right. So, again, things rapidly change. Within 1 year, you might have 200 or 300 major changes that can happen.
Yeah.
And that's just with Google. We're
Right.
not talking about all the other places around that are out there.
Yeah, but we only have 15 minutes here. So what I want to do is let me cut to the chase on this thing, okay? Because let's start off with the website, okay? Because first of all, today, we consider the website the tail that wags the dog.
Right.
Because even if you have a perfect website, which means you're getting 100% score on optimization through the big search engines.
And it's beautiful.
Right.
And it's got all the elements and all that really good stuff out there.
Guess what? You're still probably not going to get on page one because today that website's only worth 25% of the overall ranking score.
Right.
Okay, so the good news is you still need to have a perfectly optimized website, but the bad news is it's not enough to get the job done because things like your blogs, your social nets, your videos, they actually rank higher and account for more of the points in the website itself.
And think about it this way. You have to have a good score on the site itself because that's 25%.
Right.
And a C,
Right.
that is 100 minus 25 is a 75. That's a C.
Mhm.
A C is not going to get you on page one.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the real big deal is most everything that's important is off the site. So
Correct.
you can think of your site as like a brick and mortar of the web, and everything else drives the traffic to the store.
That's correct.
So that's the best way to think about it, because if you're not doing all these other things, nobody's going to find you because it's like a needle in a haystack.
Yeah,
there's a bazillion websites.
Let me tell them the other part of the story too, because what a lot of companies don't realize, particularly if you're a small fry, and you don't want to get into that knife fight with the search engines. Okay, you don't even need a website to have a web presence, do you, Hector?
Right. No, as a matter of fact, there are a lot of people actually have just a Facebook page, but a blog is,
right?
Our opinion is the ideal thing to have.
And let's school them right, because what flavor of blog should they have?
Now they should have the one that's orange. It's called Blogger because it's owned by Google.
That's the reason why.
And just so we're telling you, we're not the most friendly people with Google. Google gets mad at us regularly.
But they're the game. They own 70% of search, so
they own the monopoly board.
They're the big casino, right?
And again, Blogger's very easy to use. It's, in my opinion, we actually support WordPress blogs. That's the number one type of blog that's out there.
Well, tell them why we have to support WordPress blogs.
We get them because people bring them to us as orphans. So we got to.
Or they're broke because see, as WordPress makes changes, you are responsible to stay up to date with them, and most people don't know how to do that. Where with Blogger,
Blogger, they don't make a lot of changes, and if they do, they're internal. So a lot of the stuff is automatically fixed by Google.
And the most important thing is, okay, and I want to repeat this again. Google owns Blogger, so as soon as you hit submit on the bottom of the blog to post your blog post, guess what? The spiders come out and they look at your blog. And sometimes you can actually get that blog on page one. In fact, my personal best was an hour?
Yeah.
Because one time we were doing our other site, Working the Web to Win, we were doing a blog and we were getting ready to do a radio show. And Hector said, "Hey, Carl, you know what? Your blog's on page one." I said, "You kidding me?" And I just hit the button an hour before. But we optimize it just the same way we optimize a website.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take a
So it's got
website to get on.
keywords, all those types of things in it. It's
Yeah.
got pictures, videos,
Right.
all that kind of stuff. The neat thing about a blog is essentially it gives people a reason to come back.
That's right.
So if you have a website that's got all this static stuff on it,
It
you
doesn't
know, and I've
change.
gone there.
Why should I come back?
Right.
I've seen it. You know, where the blog constantly changes. It's always in motion. Now, that being said, who has to change it, Hector?
Right. Well, you do have to.
You
change.
gotta
have
feed
to,
it.
You have to feed the animal. You have to, and mainly what's changing is articles.
Right.
But also the other page contents can change too, because again, it's generally non-technical friendly. So you don't have to be a technocrat to go in there
Right.
and update pages and things like that.
But see, that's the bad news, okay? Because the bottom line is you got to feed that. You got to feed your social nets. You got to feed your videos. Because if you're not providing content, you're not going to be in the game no matter what type of platform you decide to
And,
get on.
and here's the
Nature of
thing:
beast.
if you use WordPress, which is really a very elegant platform that has lots and lots of capabilities and lots of templates and all that kind of stuff, but it's much harder to use today than when it first came out. So I've seen a lot of people say, you know, I'm supposed to be able to do this, but I can't do it. I can't figure it out. And they have trouble trying to use WordPress.
Sure.
I've never seen somebody say that very much about Blogger. Blogger's pretty easy to use. I mean, it's not as extensive, and unless you're buying templates and pump them
Right.
into Blogger to make some real fancy looking
Right.
thing, the standard templates are very easy to use.
Yeah, and it really hasn't changed that much because I've been on Blogger now for at least 6 years, and
Yeah.
really it's one of the few things online where every 6 months or not you look at it and go, oh crap, how do I use this thing?
Right.
They haven't really made that many changes, and it's templated, it's point and click, and the beauty of it is when you do your videos, you can drag them onto the page and you can embed them.
Yeah,
So it's another way to promote your videos and pictures.
It's
and-
got that built-in stuff. So if you have YouTube, you can click on the YouTube button and pull in
Absolutely.
your videos.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have pictures on there on Picasso or Google Photos,
Right.
you can download them and it keeps them in there. If you're a Google House all-in-one,
Right.
it makes it very easy to keep all that
Yeah,
stuff.
and let me tell them the best part about a blog, especially with Blogger. Guess what, guys?
It's free.
It's free. That's right. And here's the other part. Even though, you know, it interfaces with Google, it doesn't require Google to generate an audience. In fact, our Working the Web to Win blog just exceeded, 1 million reads
Yeah, we're a million,
after 5 years.
24,000 or something
Right,
like that.
and we did it not so much by getting on page 1 of Google, but by social networking. The
Pushing
social
it out
net.
The
feed-
social nets. Right?
That's right, that's how you feed it. So this way you don't have to, you know, deal with that 800-pound gorilla called Google.
Yeah. I mean, and the reality is, Google keeps changing their algorithm all the time, and sometimes the algorithm will favor the blogs, and sometimes it doesn't like the blogs. Sometimes it doesn't like us. I mean, but it doesn't matter since
Right.
we're constantly putting out data, content, good articles.
Yeah.
People are reading them on the social nets. Now we have a pretty big following of about 100,000 people.
Yeah.
It's always going to be read, and it may not be read by the huge number. Like the biggest month we had was like 85,000 page views or something.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
most of the people in our audience can't get past 8.5
Right.
page views. You know, that's the hard part. You know, because again, you can write the best blogs in the world, have the most interesting information loaded with pictures and videos, but if nobody sees it, what do you got, Hector?
Yeah, billboard in the desert.
That's it. So there are a number of ways of doing it. Obviously, it helps to build up a good, strong social net. But what if you could hook your caboose onto somebody else's train, maybe even a bigger train?
Right.
Think that would help you get a bigger audience?
Right.
Works for us, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it worked
We've
for us.
actually designed technology which is called Team Tech. Because when we write our blog, what we've done is we've got 5 other people, businesses, whatever, that have agreed to read the blog, comment on the blog, and repost it to their Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. And all we have to do in return is
Read theirs, comment on theirs, and repost theirs.
right. We scratch their back, they scratch ours, and what happens is when you hit the little FT and G+ at the bottom of the blog that pushes them out to the social networks, now you're going to get in front of their audience.
Right.
So it's a much quicker way to build an audience. And by the way, we offer that service as part of our writer's stuff.
Right.
So if you'd like to find out how to get involved in that and start generating an audience that will buy your books, check out our goodbooks.online and click on the contact information and let us know because we'll hook you up.
And that program is very, very successful. We came up with it about 5 years ago now, and we've actually honed it to the point where a brand new blog can go from 0 to about 1,500 page views a month in a couple of months.
Yeah, I mean, it's very quick.
so it's very
particularly
quick.
when they get, you know, hooked onto our social nets because we have over 100,000 social connections. But that's the nice thing, we can share the wealth.
Right.
You know, because the point is, and this is what you have to understand, if you're going to be an author, particularly if you're going to sell ebooks,
Right.
the game is online. All right, and unless you've got unlimited funds where you can buy your way to the finish line, well, you're going to have to find some ways of generating the audience.
Yes.
And there's an easy way and a hard way, and there's an expensive way and an inexpensive way. But the point is, you've got to figure out how to do that, because or else what's going to happen is you put out a book and you get a couple hundred copies, and what's your solution? I'm going to write another book. Right. And then at languages too, you've got to be able to generate a massive audience, and there are ways of doing that.
And again, blogging is such a powerful element, a powerful tool for you to create your books. This book here that we did, this was created from our first years of blogs.
Right.
So we had about 60 blogs, I think, that year. We actually went in there and reorganized them and put them in the book, and then boom, we had a book.
By the way, if you want a really solid investment, what is it, $4.95 on Amazon? The e-copy, ebook copy. Get it, because this has a world of knowledge on what we do and the way the web actually works, because that's what it takes. It's not a matter of how you think it works, it's how it actually works. And what we do, our day job, is we stay on top of this stuff. This is what we do 24/7. And in fact, if you want to find some more information, go to workingthewebtowin.com, which, by the way, is on the back of the book. Right. And we have a radio show, and we have a blog, and we have all kinds of free information over there that you can take advantage of, because unless you can figure out a way to make the web your friend, you're going to have a hard time selling ebooks.
And again, we can't overemphasize the importance of the blog. Allows you to build it, use it as a tool to make books. But by the same token, it also allows you to grow an audience. And this is about audience building. If you don't have an audience, you're
not in the game.
It's like you're a grain of sand in the beach or something. I mean, you're nothing.
That's true. And speaking of which, because that's actually the actual game. Because when you put your book on Amazon, there are like 300,000 titles published every year. You're like a grain of sand on the beach. How do you break out of the herd? Okay. Just sitting there and thinking, build it and they will come. That does not work. And it's proven, because the average amount of books sold per author on Amazon is like 250.
Right.
And there's some authors out there selling millions. So what's that mean for the average author? They're selling very few.
Right. There are a lot of authors that sold 10.
Yeah, because they're not going to promote the book.
Right.
It's up to you to get out there and promote it. So like I said, the easiest way, the path of least restraint, and also the way that you can generate a huge audience that will not only read your blogs, but read your book, is by blogging. That should be your number one content piece.
If you have a good blog, you can leak out little pieces of your book.
Absolutely.
That's another way to get people.
Absolutely. Talk about what's going on with the characters. I mean, there's a million ways that you can slice it and dice it to keep your audience growing. You can also embed in the blog forms so that people can register. Give them free samples of your book, because you build up that database, you write your next book, point, click,
now you
sales.
got them sold. Here's the thing, that people think that they write high quality, and again, you hear all these pundits talking about high quality blogs, high quality, relevant, timely, all those kinds of things. So you're a really good writer, you're producing great stuff, but the reality is, if you can't get distribution, you got nothing. Okay, because if people can't find you,
that's right.
If you can't get the message out,
right,
you have nothing. And if you put it in Amazon, for the most part, you have nothing unless you pay Amazon to do advertising. Correct. Or anybody else. So until you're found, it's a big issue.
Yeah.
And that's where the blogging and the Team Tech is a powerful tool.
And you can actually use the blog as your main website, because you can put multiple pages on there. You can put buying links in. You can do everything on Blogger that you can on a website, and there's no hosting cost.
Yeah.
What's better than that? It's free.
Yeah.
But you got to be willing to feed it, because unless you're going to feed it, you're not going to be able to build up a regular audience. So we got about 60 seconds left.
Yep.
And again,
great book.
You want a really good investment? Less than $5, and you can find out what this game is really all about. And then, like I said, check out our website and contact us,
and go to the blog. The blog has probably 240 articles.
Yeah. Plus, we've done a couple of hundred radio shows that go along with the blog. So if you'd rather listen to it, we've got a YouTube site, just like we're doing with Good Books Online.
We've probably got another 40 videos too.
That's what I'm saying. So there's a lot of information out there, and that's free. And then, like I said, if you really want to get serious about the game, contact us, because we will help you sell more books. And until next week, gang, just don't forget, goodbooks.online. If you're an author, you know of any authors, we're looking for authors to interview,
give us a call.
Thanks again.